Zizatuma. That's not Rocky.
That's.
I know it's not Rocky, but I love
Kindergarten
Rocky.
Cop.
I thought you said Carrot Top. Very different. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Hello and welcome. Super pumped to be here today. You are listening to Honest to God on AM 1160, The Quest, Atlanta's Catholic Radio. Gonna have a great day today. Really pumped. We got a lot of people who know what they're doing already. No prep time required. We got JJ. We got Mackenzie. We got Annie. Still doing the same thing from last week's episode, which is weird, but here we are. And we got Thomas Clements, as always. I live in studio, Annie, so it's not weird. Plus, I wore something really understated that you wouldn't be able to tell I was wearing again, like this houndstooth jacket.
It's a nice jacket.
Thanks, man. As always, we got Ben, producer Ben, rocking. You know what did I say last time? Tickling the keys. Tickling the keys over there.
They're laughing.
And then we got, we may or may not have show notes, Benny, over there in the dark, never-ending recesses, like the minds of Mariah off to my right. So,
of Mariah?
Is it Moria?
Moria.
I always pronounce it Mariah too, though.
I'm sorry.
Mine's Mariah.
I've only read it.
Like Mariah Carey.
I've only read it.
Nope, that's not
Mine's of Mariah Carey.
I also always pronounce it Galadriel, and I find out that it's Galadriel.
I got made fun of by a 9th grader for pronouncing Galadriel's name wrong.
Really?
And it's what
a cool name. I think it's Galadriel.
Galadriel. I called her Galadriel.
Galadriel. Makes sense.
And, okay, this is actually a really
ridiculous.
Good segue.
Wow.
Because today's episode, we are talking about Catholic portrayals in film and movies. We might do a little bit of Lord of the Rings. But I think we're doing a whole Lord of the Rings episode coming up.
At some point, yeah. So, we got to get the Hodge sisters back in here for that
awesome.
one.
Mm-hmm. We guys got to get Hodge sisters back in your period.
It's been too long.
They are killing. I met them at a friend of ours had a cookout not too long ago, and I saw them like in the wild. It was weird.
So they exist?
Yeah.
Outside of this?
They do.
Yeah,
exist.
once they pass through that door, they still are corporeal beings, which was news to me.
It's exciting.
But yeah, great girls. So let's do this real quick. Let's knock it out. One fun fact apiece, starting with Mackenzie, and then we'll get started on the show.
Okay, my fun fact is that I have met Hank Aaron.
No way.
Yes, I was like 1.5.
That's legit.
So yeah, apparently he owned a car dealership in Atlanta, or a couple, I guess. But my parents were there, and me and my brother were twins, and we were like 1.5, and we both ran in opposite directions all of a sudden. And I ran down a hallway straight into his office.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's
Did he like talk to you?
Well, yeah, I guess my mom like was following me, and then she said we were like down on the ground, and she looked up, and I looked up at the same time, and he was like standing up, and he was like, "Hi there, little lady."
That's
and
really
then he like
cool.
came out.
That's
and
amazing.
Who is this?
Hank Aaron. Come on, man. Hank Aaron. He held the home run record. He beat Babe Ruth's record.
Yeah, that's why I don't know him.
755.
It's a sports thing.
Yeah.
Ben's really good with computers, though.
Really good with computers. I tickle computers all the time.
Ladies, if you don't like sports but you're into computers, give Ben Barron a call. You can reach out to him. We've got his email down below in the show notes. JJ, what you got?
As of last week, I'm a professional singer of Happy Birthday.
I really want to hear more about that. Or would you rather just leave it?
There's more. If you want to hear.
JJ is really good at clickbaiting us.
I would like to know more.
No, it's not clickbait. So my friend, I was up.
But make sure that you like and subscribe if you want to hear JJ tell us.
You do need to. They need to subscribe to the paywall before they get to see the rest of it.
Also, he has to sing Happy Birthday for us, right?
I'm sure
Are you going to pay me? I can't go back to doing it for free after getting paid.
Oh.
Here's what happened.
Can we do a short of it? Because we do shorts now.
Oh, we could. And
we also do a short of, we got a short for Thank You for Being a Friend coming up. It's happening.
Yeah, waiting for it.
All right, I'm sorry.
He's not paying attention.
So I was up in Ohio recently at Franciscan University visiting some of my friends up there. And my friend Murphy plays, so he's playing guitar. So he's doing a gig for St. Patty's Day, and I was going around like heckling people to give him money, basically. And someone wanted him to sing Happy Birthday because it was their birthday. And I told him to, but he didn't. So next time I came around to ask them for more money, they weren't feeling happy about it. And I said, here, I will sing you Happy Birthday in return for a generous donation. And I sung it, and I got a generous donation.
How much money was it?
I think it was like $5.
Heck yeah.
But after getting a few bucks from them already.
Dude, you break that down hourly, though, and that's killer money.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right.
Dang.
I like it. Thomas, what you got?
Okay. I one time swam and then kayaked in the Sea of Galilee.
Oh, wow. That's really cool. Yeah. No way. Yeah. In the Holy Land?
In the Holy Land.
After our trip?
No, this was in 2016. I went with my dad.
You went back.
I went back.
So
I missed
you remember how you missed it with us, and
Yeah.
you said like you felt this connection with Moses that was like you'll never see the Holy
Yeah,
Land.
yeah.
You like read that in scripture the day before you had kidney failure or something crazy. Isn't that true?
That's true. I thought I would never see it again. And then my dad was like, "Hey, I'm going to the Holy Land." I was like, "Oh, I want to come." And so I went with.
I'm so
and
glad you got that.
It was awesome.
No longer
Yeah.
Moses.
Yeah.
No
Moses
longer
is
Moses.
probably-
That's actually
feels
the
nice
band,
about
a
that.
band name that I just
No longer
came up with right now.
Moses.
We're gonna call ourselves that. Yeah. So we went and we climbed this mountain across. It was in Magdala, where Mary Magdalene is from, and
What a coincidence.
climbed Mount Arbel, which is across the street, and then we came down and we got in the water and we swam around.
That's
and
so cool.
kayaked.
That's
It
really
was.
cool.
I
Did you
kept.
swim in the Dead Sea? That was the only cool.
I
body of
didn't.
water
I didn't
in.
swim in the Dead Sea. It was too far away. But
I got not in trouble, but sort of frustrated. The people in
you
charge
still
got sort of
wanted it.
frustrated
There were
with me.
pictures of your face all
Well,
over.
it was
when I
so easy to swim that I just started going. And I think it was, is it Jordan on the other side of the Dead Sea? Like, not the Jordan River, but the country of Jordan from Israel. Anyway, I started swimming and I swam for like 45 minutes just because it's so easy. You can't sink, right? You're so
Oh, really?
buoyant.
Yeah.
Oh, 'cause of all the
Because of all the
salt.
salt. And so you just rest when you're tired. And I just went and went and went and went until like people were little dots over on our beach.
What? Oh, you really
And,
swam out
and then
there.
I realized like that was a bad idea.
Yeah.
And the other shore was not getting any closer, and I swam back and I got a talking to when I came back.
Wow.
I was like 19.
Was it easy to swim in?
It's so easy to swim.
Oh, okay.
You're just on top of it the whole time. You move super fast.
That's
you're like,
so cool.
You feel like a duck. You feel like you got way
Uh-huh.
more buoyancy than you're supposed to have, and yeah, it's cool.
That's cool.
All right, Annie, what you got?
Everyone says it's crazy, but my dream, also another dream of mine, last episode I talked about my dream of having a farm. I want to have triplets. I think it'd be fun to have triplets.
You would be gigantic.
So I know that's what everyone
You're
says.
such a tiny
Yeah. But,
person.
But just for like the coolness factor of like having triplets.
For those
you
of you
know?
who are listening, Annie is 3.5 feet tall, weighs about 37 pounds. Yeah.
But like, I don't know, whenever I meet triplets, I'm like, that's the coolest
It is
thing
cool.
ever.
Yeah,
and
it's
so
pretty
like,
cool.
I might never sleep again, and I might be gigantic,
Yeah.
but like, I'd
They'll
be
grow
cool.
up.
You know
They'll
what I
grow up.
mean?
Yeah.
Children are a blessing.
No, that would be super cool.
And I could build them a triple crib. Like our triple bunk bed
You
that
would
we
build
Is that
have.
what you're
Yourself?
supposed to do with triplets? Is it,
Yes.
it's like stacked milk crates?
Stack the cribs.
Like the chickens on the trucks.
Yeah,
with the,
like
crates.
that. But with your infants. Yeah, okay.
Now, would you build it? Is that what you said? Or
Well,
would you
no,
Dan
I didn't
probably
build it.
would.
Dan
Dan
would build
would build
me a
it,
triple
yeah.
crib.
Okay,
Dan, if you're out there,
Get on it.
Wow.
get on it.
Okay.
if you're out there?
No, that's pretty good. Angie's pregnant right now, and she's finally starting to show, but she's really frustrated because she's in the like, I just look like I have a beer belly,
Yeah.
like stage of pregnancy, and so she wears almost exclusively a "Does this baby make me look fat?" shirt, so everybody knows that she's actually pregnant.
Does she actually have a shirt that says that?
Yeah, she has a shirt that
That's
says "This
so
baby make me look
great.
fat."
That's great.
Yeah, she wears a lot. All right, so before we jump into today's topic, which is Catholic representation in television and film, somebody needs to kick us off in prayer. Any volunteers? You got it, Mr.
Let's do
Mr.
it.
Thomas.
All right. In the
No
name
last
of the
names.
Father, and of the Son, of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Come, Holy Spirit. We want to participate in what you're doing. God, you are so good. We thank you for our lives, for our friends, for our time here together, for our family, for everything, Lord. You have abundantly blessed us, and we thank you for this. And we ask that you guide our conversation together, that we may pull out some good points that help others, that help us, that we can really help portray this message and bring about some good remarks that lead people to you. We ask all this in the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen.
You have a really good prayer voice.
Oh, thank you.
You should, Hollow should call you out. Yeah, I would. I go to sleep most nights with Father Mike Schmidt reading me a bedtime story called the Old Testament of the Bible, and it's pretty great.
That's a good book. I think about that.
It's kind of intense though, from time to time.
Yeah.
I prefer the New Testament version. Of
Do you?
it. Yeah.
You like the sequel?
Yeah, the sequel.
Good.
I'm more of a sequel than the prequel.
How do you
but-
feel about all that fan fiction that came out later, like the Book of Mormon and stuff like that? It's not
I
canon,
know.
but it's
No.
just.
It's
Yeah.
Annie's favorite book, actually.
Exposed on.
Have you read it?
No, I haven't.
I read it. I ironically asked for a Book of Mormon and a Quran for Christmas one year because I wanted to read it, right?
Yeah.
I was getting into it, and it's interesting stuff. Yeah. I mean, it's not true. I'm not lending it credence, but it is interesting. It's just interesting to sort of get into that mindset and understand it a little bit better. So it's cool. All right. Let's talk about Catholic portrayals in movies and television. We've been talking, this works its way into a lot of episodes that we do, but we haven't done an episode where we focus on this specifically. And I feel like we're going to get a lot of traction out of negative Catholic portrayals. I'd love to open it up to positive Catholic portrayals, especially like deep cut stuff that we don't think of a lot. I mean, we can all talk about Father Stu all day long. We can get into a lot of those, but I'm curious if anybody has got a really positive, like well done portrayal of Catholicism in popular media, just, I don't know, over the last couple decades.
Have you guys seen Father Stu?
It's great. We can't talk about Father Stu for sure because it is.
This is what I was telling Janice outside. So it's not explicitly Catholic. There is some, Catholic elements in it, and it's not a movie either. It's a series. My favorite. Like anything out of anything like filmed, it's my favorite. It's The Band of Brothers. Yeah. And there are just so many. I'm sorry.
Annie, obviously.
I didn't mean to do that.
We're filming this at 3 a.m.
And he's back on a hard day at the farm.
I'm totally kidding. I like making jokes about people. So sorry. But yeah. And so it's for those of you who don't know, Band of Brothers was put together, I think in 2001. It was produced by Tom Hanks and Steven Spielberg, who did Saving Private Ryan. And so then they got together and they wanted to put together this portrayal of, the warriors, the soldiers who were present in World War II from the invasion of Normandy all the way up to the fall of Germany when they surrendered. And so they put this together and they talked to the guys who were really there. They based all the characters off of real soldiers who were present. They interviewed them. They asked them their thoughts, their feelings, and just spectacular stories, came out of this. And so you see maybe not, someone, you see some prayer, but it's not like, hey, this person's going to mass, although that there's a scene of that too, which is cool. But and I'll get to that in a second because that is cool. But you see them like, okay, this is how we handle fear. All right, this is, the love that I'm sharing with my fellow, soldier. They're like sacrificing for each other, right? Sharing I know this is gonna sound weird, but hey, this is my last cigarette, but let's split it, right. Type of thing. Yeah. It's like really, really true love. And then there's one remarkable scene where they just invaded this small French town, and they're German soldiers shooting at them everywhere. And there's the two main characters, Lewis Nixon and Dick Winters, who are in charge, one of the ranking officers. And they're talking and they look over and there's this Catholic priest. And this has to have been true because they really tried to tell true stories in this, who's just going from following soldier to soldier, giving them last rites. Cool. And bullets are flying everywhere. Yeah. It's such a powerful, powerful scene. And then, then they do go to mass, in the battlefield, maybe not while there's active fighting, but you see them out in the woods. It's cool.
Well, this is not really a hot take because I think I've talked about this before on the show, but I find that the best portrayals of Christianity in art are the ones that are not explicitly Christian, right? Exactly. Where it's no, these are just acts of goodness and virtue. Yeah, are reflections of God because God is goodness, right? And it seems like so much messaging gets shoved into our face with so many things nowadays that gets lost. But you look at, when I think about movies that don't have any religious, overt religious context, I think about a ton of movies, but a ton of movies that were made a long time ago. Yeah. They're just trying to make good films. Yeah. Big shout out to Sergeant York. That's a great one. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's World War II, and then he comes back home, and there's all these themes of self-sacrifice and love of man and laying down your life for your brothers and all these things, powerful. Which are overtly, totally and completely objectively Christian, right? Yeah. And we can pretend like they're not, but they absolutely are. Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah. War movies are usually pretty good. And I think there's so many scenes in war movies, I feel with them sitting in the chapel before or pulling out their crucifix to kiss it. Yeah. I feel lots of times people use Catholicism because it's very clear. It's very clear. So having someone pull out a crucifix, it's just oh, okay. And it gives so much gravity to the situation. Yeah. Just war movies, that's what we're doing. So when you see a Catholic person in a war movie, it's the spiritual war they're fighting, but also the physical war they're fighting.
I just rewatched The Patriot the other night with my son, which
Nice.
is one of my
Nice.
top 5
So
favorite
good.
movies.
I still need to see it. I saw the trailer for
Dude, you
it.
gotta
And the
watch The
trailer is my
Patriot.
favorite movie right now.
It's so good. It's so, but that's the same thing. There's all of the, and there is a church in there. There's this, there's a preacher who goes off to fight the British with them and all of these
Yeah.
things. But most of it isn't in your face. Most of it is just sort of
Yeah.
underlying what, and it's this story of all of this loss that this man is experiencing, and he's sort of redeemed himself from these bad things he'd done in his past, and then this sort of come back during the war, and he's got this struggle. He's raising these children, and there are all these just beautiful themes. And I hate to be, I always feel like an old fogey when I say this, but you don't see it that often anymore, and it's so cool when you do, right? It's amazing.
Yeah.
The mid 80s to the late 90s, those were like the pinnacle, I think, of good movies in general. What you got, Mackenzie?
I don't really have any movies that are like not necessarily like they don't like they say that they're Catholic, so it's just like good Catholic movies.
Right.
So it's not necessarily like popular secular movies that are like have little bits and pieces. But one of my favorite Catholic movies is Fatima.
Yeah.
And I love that movie, and I think it's really beautiful, and like Marian apparitions and that kind of thing, because I don't know, they just blow my mind.
Fatima's a very interesting film because of how slow it is.
Right.
It is incredibly
yeah.
slow,
Slow burn.
but it is the payoff is immense, and it draws you in. And if you're able to, it completely breaks the mold of like the modern being super flashy in your face all the time, always have to be going, always have to like, we can't stay in a slow scene because if we do that for too long, people are going to click off the movie. It completely does away with all of that so that it can tell a great story and be in these moments and last in them and really hold in them. It's something that we were saying in the art, the episode all about like art, was that like staying in the beauty of it and staying in that. And it does such a great job of just holding on those moments for just a little longer than we're comfortable
Beautiful.
with. But out of that comes these beautiful images.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if this counts as an overtly Catholic film or not, but it won Best Picture award in 1960 something, so I think it's worth throwing out there. A Man for All Seasons. When was the last time you watched that?
I was like 7th grade.
It's so good. It is so good.
See, I need to rewatch that one.
Yeah, if you watched it last time in 7th grade, you have
I
nothing
watched
but
it
bad
so you could watch
memories.
it
for school.
For school.
Yeah, that's
so
the
there's
worst.
like not anything I wanted to watch.
That's the worst.
And the other day, Daniel was like, "That's like such a good movie.
It is a good movie.
We should watch that." And I was like,
It's so good.
But
You
I
need to
trust
watch it
you. I
again.
should watch it again.
You
I
should
should
watch it
watch
with
it
fresh
again.
eyes. Yeah.
"Yeah,
I love and it's been years going back and watching a movie that you haven't seen in a while. It's
Right.
always like way better than you remember.
Well, all those movies that were like boring grown-up movies when you were a kid, when you watch them as an adult, they like blow your mind.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, you said it, and I was thinking about it, and that's why I was thinking about it, because Ben was talking about movies being slow, and I was like, you know what's a good slow movie?
You have to pay attention to things like dialogue, so you don't like it when you're a kid. But it's
That's
just,
hilarious.
I'm all about it. Oh, another one, because I really like Mel Gibson. I keep throwing those out. Braveheart, y'all.
Oh,
One
so
of the most
good.
Catholic movies ever.
So good.
You've never seen Braveheart?
I've never seen
Oh,
Braveheart. I've never
ladies.
seen what'd you say, Patriot?
Wow.
The Patriot. Y'all, come on.
I haven't seen like any like.
Have you seen,
I'm a man.
have you seen
movies.
Father Stu?
I've seen Father Stu.
Okay, she's got everything. Now.
No, but any movie that's like man, war.
Yeah, okay, but that's the thing. That's not what it is, though.
I don't know what it
They're
is,
not
but
man war movies.
Because like what I'm over here watching is like Mamma Mia and
Okay, it is the opposite.
Princess
Tinkerbell.
Diaries. And Kenzie and I recently watched all the Tinkerbell movies.
Did you watch Les
They're
Mis?
nostalgic.
Les Miserables?
I haven't seen Les
that's good.
Oh,
Mis,
that
but
the 2012 version was amazing.
Princess Bride, favorite movie of all time.
Okay.
Love Princess Bride.
Talk about Catholic themes and Princess
Yeah.
Bride. Go.
Catholic themes in Princess
They
Bride.
have marriage. That's a
The-
sacrament.
They get married.
Sacrament.
Boom.
That guy's
Nailed it.
vaguely a bishop, maybe.
Yeah.
She's a bride at the church.
Yeah. Boom.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
They're in
basic.
the
They're
church.
fighting against evil.
Yeah,
Oh wow.
That guy has 6 hands.
fingers.
Fingers.
Miracle.
That would be different.
Miracles. Miracle Man.
Yeah, those are kind of tenuous, but okay. No, I like it.
He was looking for the six-handed man. I think he would have found him much sooner.
No, I use that quote from Braveheart fairly regularly, where he says, they're all in there squabbling in their great hall about what they're going to do and how, they're the British are frustrated and these things are going to happen because they took this little fort or whatever. And while they're all arguing and they say something to William Wallace about what are you going to do? And he goes, I'm going to go sack York. And he's basically saying like, listen, y'all work your stuff out. I'm going to go do something that's good. And I might fail, and it's going to be virtuous, and it's a good thing to do, and this needs to happen.
Yeah.
I'm going to go sack York. And that is one of my personal things I say in my head when I'm like all caught up in the minutia of things that don't matter, and be like, no, I'm going to go sack York right now. I need to get up and I need to go do the things that should be done anyway.
That.
Like,
good.
Yeah. And literally sacking York is okay too.
You know, honestly, there's definitely like plenty of bad portrayals we could talk about. But I was thinking about it. On the whole, I feel like usually Catholic portrayals are done semi-respectfully, unless it's like South Park or The Simpsons.
Surprisingly so, though. I think you're right.
I really do think part of it is that they want to use the Catholic Church as a way to like show like how serious something is.
Right.
Because it's like if it's like a horror movie, it's like you're like, oh, is it really a demon? Like, are we sure that this is like something serious? And then the priest shows up, and you're like, oh,
clearly.
Oh my gosh!
They never would have
happening
called a Methodist minister over there if it weren't a real demon.
Yeah,
That's true.
yeah, no, like youth pastor from like First Baptist.
Everybody's a non-denominational Christian till you get possessed by a demon. All right,
Real.
that's all I'm saying.
Real.
Yeah, you don't want to like get possessed and then have someone show up and be like, hey, quick, turn on Hillsong United Oceans. That'll take care of it.
But the Exorcism movies are like The Rite and The Exorcism of Emily Rose, and even The Exorcist to an extent. Yeah, they have really respectful portrayals of Catholics. It's really cool. It's interesting how they dig into that, because I think, partially because those are real things, right?
Yeah.
They try to dive into... I don't know if it feels more visceral or if it feels more natural or if it feels more whatever, but because they're dealing with an actual phenomenon that happens, being demons and possession and infestation and all these things, right? Having a priest involved in the Catholic Church puts another layer of seriousness on it that we all feel on some level, even if we're not Catholic.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Also, if I was like directing an exorcism movie, even if I was completely atheist and this was like a money grab for me, I feel like there's like a good betting sort of thing about like if I'm making a movie about the dangers of hell, maybe like don't just start like dissing on the church completely.
Right.
Just in case.
Insurance policy.
Yeah, exactly. Just play it safe.
Hear that? What were you going to say, Thomas?
I was going to change the subject completely.
Do it. Let's do it.
Well, there's also a group of movies. I think they're all informed. If you guys have a subscription to that, all the churches give them out pretty much. But it's these like Italian, English dubbed saint movies that are all just phenomenal. They just do a great job just like telling you the life of the saint. And you get to learn about their life and see like the struggles they went through and different things that happened.
Yeah.
And they're all good.
They're low budget.
They're low budget,
really good.
but they're really good.
It's about putting story over message. And we talked about that in the art episode a lot.
Yeah.
And I think that's a theme that's worth coming back to a lot. When
Yeah.
you put the story above the message, if the story is a Christian story that involves virtue and striving towards it, like the message is there. It's gonna get there. Don't try to ham fist God's not dead, kind of storyline.
I liked God's Not Dead. But
I think it's the cheesiest thing in the world. I think a lot of those are so cheesy. Now, don't get me wrong. I got a copy of Fireproof on my.
I was just thinking about
Fireproof.
Fireproof.
You remember watching that at youth group, man?
Yeah.
It's so good. It's like a campy
I literally
one.
recently rewatched it the other day because Grace and I are like no watching movies, and then we're like, but if we watch a Christian movie, it's allowed in Lent, or an uplifting movie. So Grace and I came home and she was watching Fireproof. And that scene where he like dances with his daughter.
No, that's
he did-
Courageous. That I was about to say,
Courageous,
which is
that's
a
what
better
I'm
movie.
Yeah,
Courageous, not Fireproof.
Yeah,
Courageous
Courageous is better than
Oh,
Fireproof.
my
Courageous,
gosh.
the opening scene of Courageous is amazing.
Oh, when the guy
He's
the
like,
train.
He like jumps on the car.
Yeah, because the guy tries to take his car and the baby's in there.
No,
Yeah.
that's the next scene, right? Isn't it? When no, you're right. That's the first scene. I'm thinking about the scene on
You're
the train
thinking
track
of
and Fireproof.
Fireproof.
Yeah. They should combine those
They're
movies.
like the same.
They're the
movie,
same
but one-
cinematic universe.
But then there's a scene where they have the alien in the bike basket and they're all riding and they get lifted up into the
I think
air.
that's Flywheel. That's the original show. No, but
It's actually E.T.,
But they're so good. Those movies are so. They really are. But with a lot of those Christian movies, you almost have to get over the cheese factor for sure.
Well,
Lots
I think
of cheese.
I feel like there's like a new grittiness to Christian movies. Those of you who have seen Father Stu, and it's like Jesus Revolution just came out too, and they're like doing drugs.
I haven't
talking
seen
about
it.
sex and Jesus.
What's it
It's
about?
new.
It's about the Jesus movement that happened with the hippies in
Okay.
the 60s and
Yeah.
how they all kind of just started randomly getting to know Jesus and praying and it's a beautiful movement.
My mom's boyfriend was like a hippy dippy whatever in college, and he ended up becoming this like super hippie Christian. Wrote a rock opera based on the life of Joan of Arc.
No way!
Like it's
I want
really
to
cool.
see that or hear
That's
that.
really cool. I know like one. Oh, I was just saying. I know like one of the really big scenes in like Jesus Revolution is like the pastor is there, and they're like everyone's like, we don't want the hippies coming in because their feet are dirty and they're gonna make the carpets gross. And so the next morning he's out there washing the feet of all of the
That
hippies
was
so they
so
could come
cool.
in. I was like, dang, that's really
It's
really
based
cool.
on a true story.
Yeah, it is based on.
I do want to clarify that my mother's been married to my father for about 50 years. I was talking about her boyfriend in college, for the record.
I'm glad you
My
clarified.
parents are in their 70s. They've been happily married since the 70s. Okay.
But the thing about Jesus Revolution and then Fathers too is they're gritty. There's there's sin.
They're
they
real,
portray sin. They're
right?
real, and I feel like that's like a new genre that's coming out now. The gritty Christian.
And we need it,
Yeah,
right? I
yeah.
really do think that we need it because once again, it's real, and I feel like this is a real thing and not some like happy whatever message. Not to complain about the Remember the Titans; it's a great movie, but one thing that
love
totally
Remember
took
the
me out of it,
Titans.
Remember the Titans, is when they were in the locker room. I've been in a lot of football locker rooms, and everybody's like, "Oh, heckin' shoot!" Right? There's all this like they're careful with all this because they want their PG rating and everything, which is great. I understand why they did that, but I'm an adult. Give me a real movie with the Jesus stuff. I like the Father Stew, and there's a lot of cursing and whatever. I'm not going to take my 10-year-old to see it, but it makes me feel like I'm watching real people who are broken like I am, right? Cinderella Man, I want to talk about it.
Love that movie.
We're going to get into some complaints. There's a lot to complain about.
Listen,
not about Cinderella Man
I was like-
in general, right, with Catholic portrayals in movies, but I do want to talk about Cinderella Man. One of my favorite movies, one of my top 5 movies, way better than La La Land. And I'm sorry, Ben. I fell asleep and snored through it. Remember? We watched that together. It was like,
I know.
We also watched Cinderella Man together, guys. The three
that
of us.
was a great movie.
yeah, just me, Annie, and Ben.
What a great
Nobody
time.
else. Yeah. No, we did that. That was our so Cinderella Man and Greatest Showman were 2 of our beach retreat movies
nice.
that we watched
Love
because
Greatest
they both
Showman.
have incredible lessons in them, and it's phenomenal. Once again, it's just virtue, right? It's people struggling towards virtue and failing and
Yeah.
getting back up and
Absolutely.
getting to it.
Absolutely.
And that's called life, and that's called Christianity, and that's what we're called to in the faith. And I think it's awesome.
You guys want to hear how Cinderella Man made me cry in the first like 10 minutes of the movie?
Kinda, yeah.
I would love that.
So it's the beginning, and so they're struggling. They don't have a lot of food because he's pretty much out of work.
Yeah.
And his daughter's like kind of a little bit more hungry, and she like mentions it.
Yes.
And he's about to eat his food. And he's like,
yes.
"Oh, here, have mine." And she's like, "Are you sure?" And he's like, I'm full, actually.
Yeah, and he says, I had a dream last night. I ate a bunch of food. I can't eat it.
That
Right.
Yeah.
just
And it's like a piece of like a slice of ham, basically.
Yeah.
just as soon as he was like, "Oh, I'm full," I couldn't.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh no." My eyes are no longer dry.
I think about that scene all the time. To be honest with you, because I'm a father of my own kids, and like think about like I would definitely do that. Like if it came down to it, it's like such a awesome example of manhood. Yeah, thanks for bringing that up.
That was something that I was realizing about fathers in general.
Yeah,
I was talking with my friends, and it's like, so my family, we definitely like, I know it wasn't easy for my dad. It was never like terrible.
Right.
But what blew my mind was my dad's telling me something about finally getting, like, paying things back after, like, refinancing the house in, like, the 2008, 2009
Sure. Yeah.
thing. And it just never, like, occurred to me, like, oh, we were at a point where my parents had to refinance the house to, like, have enough money to keep going. And I was like, dads do that all the time, where kids just don't realize that they were poor
Right.
because their dad would just work his butt off. But he wouldn't just do that. He'd do that and not make them worry about it.
Right.
yeah.
And then, like, my friend was telling me, like, he realizes that they were poor because they had the milk that came in bags.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because that's what WIC does. And it was like, so many kids didn't realize they were poor just because that's what their dad did.
Yeah.
Wow.
Blows my
That's
mind.
cool. Yeah, no, it's just a beautiful portrayal, once again, of an imperfect person
Yeah.
who is trying to do the best he can in the right way, right? Even that time, there's that scene where he has to go and take out money from he has to take the handout, right? From the city or from the state or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then when he makes his money, he goes right back and he
pays it back.
Pays it back. It was just
Yeah.
cool. It's
Or
just a self-sacrifice.
The scene where his
Falling
son
move.
steals the food and he makes him take it back.
Even though they're starving.
Even though they're
Yeah.
starving.
Wow.
Yeah. No, there's just so
Yes.
many awesome portrayals of everything. And just as an aside, in case anybody from the Bear family is listening, Max Bear, who's the guy there.
Yeah.
Well, no, but this is serious. His family did a big protest after that movie came out because he's treated as such a jerk. And in real life, and this is like on record with interviews and whatever, he did kill. I think he killed 2 guys in the ring. And he felt horrible about
Wow.
it and sent all these, like, did everything he could to pay for the medical expenses. They needed a villain for the movie.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They needed a jerk. But if you're listening, great grandchildren of Max Bear, we know he's a good dude. We know here at Honest to God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's so sad though.
Great
We'd actually
showman.
love to have his grandkids on the show.
We have him on next week with Jeff Goldblum.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, he'll be here next week, which is pretty exciting. But it's Jeff Goldblum from the early 90s.
Oh, well,
Which is
that
crazy. But
that
we
was
got
a
him.
good era, and that
He was a
that's-
lot harder to book than modern existing Jeff Goldblum. Yeah. Lots of work it went into
Well,
that.
he early '90s. Jeff Goldblum was in one of my favorite movies, Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
which I think has a really awesome Catholic message.
I like this just sort of chain of.
And it's honestly, I think it's one of the most important messages or lessons I learned in my life, and I think
It's okay to eat
lot-
lawyers. Is that it?
no,
That's
it's
the message I got.
That's what I
it's
took
the
away.
lesson that just because you can do something doesn't mean you should.
Okay. I am not joking when I say this. I mean, you're right. That's
Yeah.
awesome. I used that quote. I stood up and I gave a presentation in front of a bunch of teachers at a conference or something. I forget where this was.
And you quoted
And
Jeff
I
Goldblum?
said, I'm going to quote Dr. Ian Malcolm. He's a doctor of whatever, specializing in chaos theory.
Yes.
And then I read it and I said something along the lines of, you might know him most famously for the incident on Isla Sorna. And then I went
Amazing.
and slowly watching the light bulbs of, he's talking about Jurassic Park. Go off with these people's eyes.
Disappointing, yeah.
But no, I use that
It's-
exact line because it
It
is
illustrates,
yeah,
that point.
and it illustrates the Catholic understanding of bioethics.
Yeah.
too.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. It's a lesson I think, especially, I'm not as afraid of, modern technology as some say they are, but it's a good lesson as, we're advancing, so many things and coming out with, all these cool new like C-3PO and R2-D2 robots.
That was a movie, Thomas.
Oh yeah.
That's not real.
I did so much research for this program that, but no, just like, as stuff comes out, we just have to keep in mind, like, if just because we can doesn't mean we should.
All right, serious question. Then I want to get into some negative portrayals of Catholicism and Christianity in TV and film. Morally speaking, are we allowed to make dinosaurs come back? Morally speaking, serious question. I want to actually I want to hear the moral discussion on it from a Catholic bioethical standpoint. Can we resurrect extinct species like dinosaurs?
I think so.
My gut answer is no.
My answer is yes.
I don't want to get my answer yet. I want to hear Mackenzie's answer first.
Maybe.
I would say mine would probably be no.
Okay, argue with JJ. Why? Why do you think JJ is wrong,
I
Mackenzie?
don't know if I can take Mackenzie on. She's too
tough.
convicted.
I'm
Don't look
not
directly in her eyes.
educated on, all of that, but I'm just thinking about I don't know. Well, I guess it's the same thing. Like, if you could do it, is it a good idea? Because I feel like that could affect so much, just
Okay.
like in the world. I feel like it just might not be a good idea. But morally,
Yeah.
I feel like resurrecting things. I just
Can
don't
you
know
bring
if that's a good
extinct
idea.
species back?
I don't know. This isn't the same, but it makes me think of what's it called where you can pick the perfect genetics for your kid that they're trying to
Genocide?
not genocide.
CRISPR?
That's what it is.
No.
Genetic engineering.
Genetic
Yeah,
engineering.
Not
Yeah.
genocide. Genocide.
Gene
is-
editing. Gene editing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
gene editing.
but
it's like we could do that, but we
But those are
shouldn't.
humans, right?
Those
That's
are
the
humans.
distinction.
It's different. But that is something where it's you're messing with something that God has created, and it's okay, the dinosaurs went extinct. That is how it was created. That's how it happened. So
what do you think about
I
the
don't know.
fact that they're trying to bring back the woolly mammoth, and right now all signs point to humans wiped those out. it wasn't like a meteor or like a natural
Right
event.
up top.
We
One
did
more
it.
Species down. Go team.
Meteors are like, this
Couple
is
million more to go.
propaganda.
That's a joke. I'm not supporting.
So do you think
driving
bringing
species to extinction?
woolly mammoths back is morally okay
I just feel
opposed
like
to
we
I
shouldn't
think
be-
it's a moral imperative that we breed them back.
Have
Absolutely.
you seen
I'm
Ice
totally
Age?
on team.
Have you
Okay.
seen
I've seen
Ice
Ice
Age?
Age.
This
You
is
mean
my
real life Ice Age?
thought, because like with animals, like, you know, like they breed dogs and some dogs aren't able to breed naturally like by themselves, so they have to like, you know, do that whatever. So it's like, if those are animals and that's okay, like that's morally okay, then like,
And that would be my argument, basically, is that we have to be good stewards over creation, but we do have dominion over the earth and the animals that are on it, right?
Yeah.
And we have to take that seriously. We have to treat them well. But I'm 100% on team. We can bring dinosaurs back if we want to.
Yeah,
Interesting.
it
That's
does-
my take. But it doesn't mean I'm.
Is that-
it's not doctrinal. It's not in the catechism.
Well, this might take us too far down this, but like, is that the same as cloning?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, we cloned Dolly the sheep. I don't
Yeah.
think we have any sort of a Catholic
I
bioethical
don't think
issue with
so.
cloning
Yeah.
animals.
I just feel like that could be like a steep slope into like cloning people.
That's
And
the
obviously
danger.
that's morally wrong.
That's the
Yeah,
danger.
there's
Yeah.
so many things we do to animals that we are not okay to do to people, obviously, right? By
Yes,
virtue of
but I
our
just feel
humanity.
like
eat
that
animals.
would make
Let
it
them
so
go.
much easier if you're
I'm
like
almost positive you're not supposed
able
to
to
eat people.
clone animals at such a like big extent, like dinosaurs from that long ago. I just feel like that would be super
I just feel like
easy
it's
for-
not a good idea.
Depends on which
Like, it'd be
dinosaurs
cool.
you pick.
It'd be really cool. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like we're gonna have a Jurassic Park situation.
I think big dinosaur has brainwashed you, and we absolutely need to bring dinosaurs back.
You mean Barney?
Yeah, it's
Barney, I was brainwashed by
all
Barney.
a
Who wasn't?
psyop to make us comfortable with these flesh-eating beasts, so that we can bring them back.
So Catholic films.
All right. Negative portrayals of the church in Catholic films involving dinosaurs or not. Right? Where did they get it wrong? That's what I want to dig into.
So I've got one right off the bat, and it's not simply Catholic portrayals in film, but I think it's Christian portrayals in general. And I just last night finished The Last of Us, which overall
I did too. I finished it this week.
I thought it was a good show. I thought it
Except for that one episode out of nowhere. What was that about?
the
Ron Offerman. Where
yep, that one.
everything was so cool until he and that guy started. I mean, there was a kissing scene. It was just out of nowhere and inappropriate.
out of nowhere, inappropriate, kind of ruined the show a little bit. But there's a Christian pastor in some of the in a later episode, and I'm gonna spoil the show here. So if you
Spoiler alert for The Last of Us,
Spoiler
second to
alert
last
for The
episode,
of Us,
season 1.
season 8. You have this preacher character that comes in and he's like leading a town, and then it's revealed he's actually this like awful person,
Yep.
and that doesn't believe any of the things he's kind of spouting, which is interesting. That I don't know if that is a bad portrayal of Christianity or if it is a portrayal of someone misusing the doctrine of
Right.
Christianity.
Right.
And that's what it is, practically
Well,
speaking.
Rainn Wilson, the guy who he played Dwight on The Office,
Yeah.
he called that out and like had a whole tweet about how
About that show?
about that show and how
Really?
the pastor, because I haven't seen the show, but I saw his tweet, like how the pastor being Christian, like he said the moment like he saw the pastor, he like knew that was going to be the villain, and he was talking about how there really is this anti-Christian agenda in Hollywood right now.
Rainn Wilson said that?
Yeah.
That's
Right,
wild.
yeah.
I didn't realize that he was.
I thought that's what you
I
were.
mean, I'm
going
sure he's
for.
not a
Yeah.
religious guy, but that's
I don't-
really
I don't
interesting.
think so.
that
Yeah,
he's-
he definitely called it out.
Well, we're going to have him on the show next week with Jeff Goldblum and from the 90s and whoever else we said we were going to have on. So we'll talk to Rainn
the
about
grandchildren of
Max
Matt,
Bear.
yeah.
it. Yeah, and Max Bear's grandchildren.
a great
That's
episode.
super interesting. But no, and the first half of that episode too, I was like, I thought he might be a good guy.
Yeah.
He seemed like a good
He seemed
guy.
like a genuinely
And
good fellow.
I thought maybe the line was going to be, well, he's blurring like what is and isn't okay morally for the sake of keeping these people alive.
Right.
And then by the end, it's like, oh no, he's actually a murderer and a cannibal and a terrible person in 100 other ways.
Yep,
Super,
and so
it's our only portrayal of Christians in the show.
it may, and yeah, it's the only portrayal of Christianity of any kind in the show.
Right.
And so and like practically speaking, he in the show doesn't believe anything that he's saying.
Yeah.
He's not doing these things because he's a Christian. But it does paint Christians in a bad light. That if
absolutely.
this is the way we see them, if we see Christianity as this tool that evil men are using to like get their way basically,
Absolutely.
then that is a detriment to Christian culture in general.
And people who aren't experiencing the Christian faith, that's like their only view
Right,
of it.
yeah.
They're going to walk away with those conclusions.
Yeah, I feel like that's how so many people now are sort of their whole experience primarily with Christianity is through the media, right? And so when you just have negative portrayal after negative portrayal, and they're not all like that. Once again, we've gone over some positive portrayals, but I feel like it's becoming more and more prevalent where it is either a neutral non-issue or it is a negative portrayal. It's almost never a positive portrayal of Christianity. Yeah.
Now to go into a positive portrayal of Christians and Catholics that I really enjoy, Daredevil.
Oh, you've been wanting to talk about this for months.
Oh my gosh.
So
I keep
Go
like
off.
bringing this up very, very minorly in Honest to God episodes because I just love the show Daredevil so much. Mostly because of Wilson Fisk as a villain. I think he's just a fantastic villain. But especially in the third season where they start leaning heavily into the Catholic faith. And that being like a major plot point of the character of Daredevil. Because like the first scene that we see Daredevil in, he's in a confessional. And he is
Isn't he a seminarian at one point in the comic books?
I don't know. Is he?
Okay, I could be wrong. I don't want to
Probably. That sounds like something would be
get a
in
bunch
the
of
comic
DC
books.
people upset. But yeah, I'm pretty sure.
DC.
But so it, and so throughout the show, like we see parts of, and the reason, like Daredevil's big thing is that he won't kill. And they kind of start to reveal the reason he won't kill is because he's Catholic.
Right.
He sees that as like, he will never cross that line. And then we get into the third season and he's considering that. He sees this as his last resort and that God has abandoned him. And they start tackling all these things. And he's like bedridden at one point, and a Catholic priest comes up to him and says, "Would you like to receive confession and the Eucharist?" Like, he can't get out of bed. So like, and I've never seen that before in any kind of film or TV, is like offering this as this would be good
last
for you.
rites, yeah.
Yeah. And it's showing that what Daredevil is doing, which is pushing all of that away and saying, no, I'm not going to participate in this because God has abandoned me. I have no faith anymore. That is the bad thing to do. And that is distinctly what is being shown. And by the end of it, he has this like reversion almost, that he comes back and he sees, no, this was actually meant to be so that this greater good could come of it. And he has this like this specific, there's one moment, and I don't want to spoil the show, but there's one moment towards the end where he has to like fight that. And you can see that he is this close to going down that dark path, but then he doesn't. And that is shown as the ultimate good, and it's grounded in his Catholic faith, which is so awesome.
That's
and it's
really cool.
a Marvel property, which is like the furthest thing you'd think of modern day Marvel.
Oh, and I just called it DC. Sorry.
Yeah, that was way weird.
Yeah.
Can't believe you did that.
Embarrassing, really.
I'm over it. No, that's really cool. I like that a lot.
I do too, yeah.
I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about positive portrayals, not of Christianity, but going out a little bit, just of virtue. While we were off air earlier, we were talking about Bollywood movies and how awesome they are. And I think it's primarily because of there's not a political agenda being pushed. It's just telling good stories for the sake of telling good stories. You guys haven't seen this, but you've seen RRR, haven't you, Ben?
I haven't. I really need to see it.
I'm going to say RRR a lot on the radio, which is a hard thing to say. But it's on Netflix right now, RRR. And it is a Bollywood movie that's just hyper patriotic Indian movie about them overcoming British colonization and all of these things. And the good guys are such good guys. And you would think that it's cheesy, but there's a few things that I really like. The first thing is, they're both portrayed as virtuous men. They both do virtuous things. They both have to decide whether or not like doing something unvirtuous is worth it, and ends justify the means kind of thing. It's really interesting to see them work through. And it is, I think, the best portrayal of male friendship in a movie I have seen in forever. They have a whole friendship montage where, they're like growing closer together throughout the whole thing. There's even a scene where one's riding a horse and the other one's riding a motorcycle and like laughing and talking. And if we were to show that today, everybody would be like, oh, somebody struggles with same-sex attraction. Oh, he must have a boy crush, whatever. But there's none of that. That's not even hinted at. It's like, no, this is an authentic male relationship of these guys who really love and care about each other. And they have this beautiful male intimacy that you just don't see because there's nothing romantic about it. It's this platonic, loving friendship that they have. It's beautiful. And you very seldom get to see that anymore.
As a conservative guy on a Catholic show, I will say nothing seems more bigoted than like that automatic assumption that friendship between guys has some sort of like sexual connotation.
100%.
Yeah.
Yes.
And there's actually lots of gay people who would agree, because so many people will be like, wow, look at this wholesome relationship these guys have. It's because they're gay. We know it is.
Right. It's got to be. Even in like kids' movies.
Oh yeah.
And it's so sad because definitely male relationships have not been, I think, have suffered a lot like the past like century, because lots of people have tried, I think because they're so scared of gayness, they're like, guys just can't be friends anymore.
Right.
It's not worth the risk.
Or that friendship has to be so surface level, and there can be no actual intimacy, right? There can be no actual like, hey, I love you and I care about you and I want you to know that, right? And that is so broken and so disordered and against everything that we as like a society have been doing. Our civilization, right, is built on a lot of these platonic relationships that are really good and wholesome and have no romantic or sexual element to them, and that's normal and okay, and how the vast majority of our relationships are supposed to be.
Well, if you go back and read like letters of our, the forefathers.
Yeah.
Like Thomas Jefferson, like even when they were planning out the, Lewis and Clark's expedition, he was really good friends with Lewis, Meriwether Lewis, and they were write letters to each other, and they would express, this is back before they were like inundated with media like I am, and so like they would like really take time to write good letters and express their hearts to each other, and it wasn't weird to like say like I care for you more than anyone these days,
Right.
And like
I miss you.
yeah.
I love you. I'm praying for your well-being.
I feel
I
like-
long for the time I get to see you again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, which is a normal experience that we have
Exactly.
with other people, but why can't we verbalize that?
You send me texts like that all the time.
Constantly. Dearest Thomas, many a moon has passed since I last gazed upon your face.
And I just send you pictures of the new George Foreman
Can't
movie
wait,
trailer.
by the
Yeah.
way. I heard that the whole boxing thing is just a very brief, that's in the opening credits. It's all about the rise of the George Foreman grill.
It needs to be.
Yeah,
It needs to
I would
be.
watch the heck out of that movie, actually. Starring a not de-aged, just a regular George Foreman now, but as like a 20-year-old moving up.
Martha Stewart's the villain somehow.
No, I think that's great. What else? I'm interested, positive or negative, but I would love some negative thoughts if anybody's got one.
I feel like Catholic nuns are portrayed very poorly in films.
A lot of them. Yeah. Are you saying now or historically? Like Sound of Music does a decent
Oh,
job,
Sound of Music does a
except for the
decent
part
job.
where she abandons her vows and marries the guy at the end. But anyway.
Yeah.
I thought she was still a novice. I thought,
Oh, was she just?
She was.
She was a
She was.
novice, so
Sorry, guys. I haven't watched Sound of
Mother
Music in a while.
Superior is like,
what?
no, it's a good message because Mother Superior is like, you have to choose. And then she's like,
Yeah.
she was trying to use the convent
Yeah.
as an escape
Okay, I take it
from
back.
her vocation of
Oh.
marriage.
I take it back.
It's been a long time since you've seen that. My little brother's one of his favorite movies was Sound of Music. so
Mary
we just kept
Margaret, my
watching.
daughter, is Brigitte in the Sound of Music this year.
Really?
Oh, that is awesome.
That's so fun.
That's
I didn't read the
beautiful.
script though, so I don't know that's how it goes.
But movies like The Nun, or like
There's
they're
like the
portrayed-
horror movie.
Yeah, the
The
horror
town.
movies.
They dress up like nuns.
Yeah, I like.
Oh yeah, I remember the time.
I'm trying to think of other movies, but I just feel like as a whole, nuns aren't portrayed very well. I don't know. Maybe.
Well,
Go ahead.
You'll see like a movie where like someone will be dressed up as a nun, like a criminal, and then they'll use that to like break into a
Are
bank.
you only talking about the town? Or still?
Especially movies with Ben Affleck.
Yeah. Where's a bank robber from Boston?
Did anybody watch the new Batman movie?
I did.
Because
Yeah.
they're like singing the Ave Maria like really
Yeah.
creepily,
Really creepy.
and it's like creepy, and it makes your skin crawl, and it's like gross.
It's not religious, literally at all. Like
No.
he's in jail and he just all of a sudden starts singing the Ave Maria and it really creepy.
It's like the
way.
joke.
Oh,
yeah.
the Riddler.
The
does.
Riddler.
The Riddler, yeah.
Okay.
And it's it was so gross, and I was like, oh, I don't like this. Like this,
Right.
it's the Ave Maria, like one of the most beautiful
Yeah.
like songs ever, and it was just like it was just creepy.
It's almost like I don't know, and maybe I'm reading too much into it, but like an attempt to stigmatize these beautiful, good things. and
Yeah.
Make them negative. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because I just finished the movie Ambulance with.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh, it was awesome.
Yeah.
It was a great movie. I enjoyed it. It's on Amazon Prime for those of you who want to watch it, and I've seen this in other movies too. Is you get to like there are lots of bad guys in the movie, but you get to like this one like South LA drug cartel, and like their base, and it's filled with all these holy objects that we would find in like a Catholic
Right,
church, like
lots of-
statues of Mary and images of saints and whatnot, but it's in the bad guys hideout.
Right.
So it's like, why is it with the bad guys? Like, what are they
But that
trying?
goes back a long way, right? I mean, you watch The Godfather and you
Yeah.
see all those people being killed while his child's
Yeah.
being baptized, and there's all that Catholic imagery
Uh-huh.
tied up with it. Yeah, it is interesting.
I always find that kind of cool, though.
It is.
So- just
it is
a
kind
little
of cool.
bit.
It feels cool, but it's
Little,
bad.
like, yeah,
I don't think it's virtuous and it's good, but I think it's. And I'm not putting words in your mouth, but I think from my perspective, that's coming from a brokenness in me that's saying like, hey, isn't it cool that these guys who are super bad and like powerful and whatever, they've got this. And I don't like that about myself, but I agree. There is
A little
something that's
bit.
attractive in that.
It's I think for me, I kind of appreciate the fact that I wish that cultural Catholicism and actual Catholicism were intertwined, but I appreciate the fact that there are places with cultural Catholicism. Like I love the idea of, like, I crack up a little bit when my friends are joking about, like, people up in Boston. Just, like, not Catholic at all, but still, like, every week, bless me, Father, for I've sinned.
I left my khakis in my khakis.
I have a bad-ish, I'd say, just like a snippet in a movie. Have you seen A Quiet Place 2?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Opening scene of The Quiet Place 2. They're in a store, creatures walking outside, and then the guy that gets them killed is sitting there praying a Hail Mary. That's the reason that most people in that store die, is because this dude decided to pray.
The other people die too.
Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say, like, if I'm gonna get eaten by a monster that hunts me down based on sound, I think the best way I could die would be praying a Hail Mary. But I hear what you're saying.
Like they're
I don't want to get you killed too, Ben.
they're using kind of the framing to blame this guy, and it's a powerful, I guess, image in the movie, that this person out of desperation is trying to like do this thing that we see as you do this when you think everything else has failed. This is your last resort to make everything better, but it in fact is the thing that makes you die.
Don't pray, because
Yeah.
it's going to kill people. Yeah.
That might be too on the nose.
Yeah,
Maybe it's not exactly
maybe not
the
that,
message,
but
no.
That's what I'm reading from. No, okay.
You know what that makes me think of? Y'all know the old War of the Worlds?
Yes.
Like
Yes.
the old one?
Yeah.
There's just one scene where the priest, I think, or it might be a pastor, but he's like walking like towards the aliens, I think. Like got his Bible out and he's like, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. That was kind of cool, actually.
Yeah.
I kind of like it when it's
Wow, since I've
like
seen that.
baseline of like you don't know if they're being crazy or faithful, and it's the movie's not picking one or the other,
Right.
but you just see it.
Yeah.
There is something, and I keep using the word cool, and I don't love that word because I have a hard time defining it, because it doesn't mean good necessarily. But there are these connotations that I have with it that are hard to express, but that is objectively cool about those Catholic images in particular. I have many times when I'm having a bad day gone on YouTube and pulled up the scene from Kingdom of Heaven where the army of Jerusalem arrives to fight the Saracen hordes led by Saladin. And it's this amazing scene where you have Jerusalem that is still Catholic in the background, and this giant army of tens of thousands of men marching out, and this giant gold cross that these guys are carrying at the front of the army, while you hear this like sacred music being sung from the. It's amazing. And
That's
it really
cool.
is this. I mean, it stirs your heart in ways that we talked about this when we were doing the art episode, but all of the imagery and the fact that the Catholic Church says like, no, we're corporeal beings and we like physical things and that's okay. The imagery, the music, the smells, the bells, all of that, that does affect us in a way. And I think that's kind of a nice way to put a bow on the whole conversation with Catholic portrayal in movies and television and whatnot. We connect with these images of our faith that are good, that can be good or bad, and the connotations that we receive are good or bad. And we do have to be careful on how it's depicted and what we're seeing and what we're showing others, because you can definitely get tied up in the cool stuff with the cartels or the gangsters in the old mob movies or whatever, and like have this, there's almost this draw to it.
Yeah. Where you
And-
start rooting for the bad guy
Right,
to
and
win.
that's disordered.
Yeah. Disordered,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's a kind of a big deal closeout there. Do we have time, Ben, for any kind of popsicle sticks or anything?
I think we have time. Yeah, I
time?
think we can get to it.
Might have to go over a little bit.
I think it's YouTube only.
Well, if you're listening on the radio, thanks so much. Make sure you go check us out on YouTube at Honest to God with a 2. Is there an actual 2? Is
No,
that
it's not a 2. It's
not
just Honest
actual
to
2,
God on
Honest to
YouTube.
God.
Instagram with the two?
This Instagram, yeah.
Instagram. Check us out on Instagram with a 2. It's going to be great. Producer Ben's been doing some killer shorts
you.
lately, so get pumped for those. All right, so let's do loaded questions, Junior. I'm going to mix it up today. I'm going to start. This is literally the exact same one that I got last time. If I'll do what frightens you. And I like to go deep on these. What frightens me truly, I don't like it when people say, when I'm like, what's your greatest fear? And everybody's always like, spiders, sharks. No. Here's what scares me. Here's what actually scares me, Ben. I worry that I think I struggle with what I've heard referred to as imposter syndrome, right? And this idea that I'm not really good at the things I think I'm good at, and I'm not really worthy of respect, and I'm not really I'm not really the man that I want to be, and eventually everybody's going to realize that I'm actually a fraud in all these ways. That's what actually frightens me, and that is a much better answer than snakes. When you say what scares you, I've had that.
I hate scorpions.
I've had that discussion with kids, and they've said like, I really don't like heights. I'm like, okay, you know what's scarier than heights? Loneliness. You being alone forever and never achieving anything. Isn't that scarier?
How's your relationship with your dad? Let's talk about it.
Always bring that up with strangers immediately. Let's just get this out of the way. All right, you go, producer Ben.
Me go. All right. What is the first thing that you do when you get out of bed? I have since Lent started like a morning routine that has really been fantastic, which is that I wake up and I make myself a cup of Earl Grey tea. That's always the first thing I do.
Sure.
After I put on pants, of course.
Right.
Because
You can't
drink your tea
Can't
without
drink
pants
your
on.
tea without pants on.
It's dangerous for
It's
starters.
So
What if you
dangerous.
spill that?
Exactly. Exactly.
Your skin
It's a
be so burned.
precaution is what it is. But yeah, it's great. It's become one of my favorite things to do in the day.
Do you do that before you
Put
brush your
pants
teeth?
on?
I do. Way before I
Wow.
brush my teeth.
Way
A couple hours
Wow.
actually.
way before.
See,
It's at like 6 a.m.
I have to brush
wake
my
up and
teeth
drink tea.
immediately as soon as I wake up.
Oh,
Really?
Oh wow.
No,
Wait a
I do
while.
my morning stuff. I brush my teeth right before I put on my clothes I'm going to wear that
No,
day.
no.
Yeah,
The
me
first
too.
thing I do
What do I do
is
right before I
I have to brush my teeth.
Cool.
Anyways,
Because
not
of all
my
the food you
question.
ate while you were sleeping.
No, I just don't like the taste of my mouth when I wake up.
Do you brush your teeth before bed and right after bed?
Yes.
Yes.
Go to bed?
yes.
Yes.
All right, that's good.
Crazy.
Kenzie, my roommate over here confirmed. She's like, yes.
All right, JJ, what you got?
What is your favorite dessert? And I'm gonna have to say ice cream cake.
Oh yeah,
Because-
solid choice.
So many cakes. It's like a 50-50 on if I'll love it or hate it. But ice cream cake is always there for me. It always pulls through.
Do you guys ever go to Jenny's ice cream? You just said ice cream. And I love it. It's at the Avalon. It's
Never been.
It's so good.
I think once.
It's amazing.
Need to go again.
Mackenzie.
There's some good ones on here. If you could star in any movie, what would you choose? I would pick.
It has to be a movie we discussed today.
Father Stew.
I'm sorry.
RRR.
And you have to star in it. You're the main character.
The main character.
Father Stew, definitely.
Sorry for
We really
throwing
didn't talk about Father's Day. We just mentioned it.
Yeah.
I
We mentioned how we couldn't talk about Father's Day.
And then we joked about it, or I joked about it.
I've forgotten all the movies we've talked about.
Jurassic Park.
Princess
RRR,
Bride.
Greatest Showman. Cinderella Man.
Yes, Princess Bride.
If
Nice.
you could star in any movie and I could pick, I would pick Cinderella Man, and you would be Russell Crowe, and you would be the heavyweight champion of the world.
I've never even watched that, so yeah.
pretty
So-
great.
Need to.
How?
It's peak Russell Crowe.
That's so upsetting. I love all boxing movies.
All boxing
Come to
movies?
find out.
They're
I love
good.
Rocky.
What's
I love
the best
Cinderella
Rocky?
Have you
Man.
What's
seen
the
Creed?
best Rocky?
Rocky 4 when
That's
he.
the right
Rocky
answer.
4 is so good.
That is the right answer.
Have you seen the Creed movies?
No, I haven't seen Creed yet.
Creed
okay.
1 and 2 are
They're good.
I like
But
them.
Rocky 4 is my
They're good.
favorite. He gets the whole entire Soviet Union to cheer for
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
Rocky ends the
He's
Cold War.
incredible. He
amazing.
ends the Cold War. Have you seen like the ESPN like 20 to 20 they do on it? It's so funny. They treat it like it's a real fight. You should watch it. Watch
That's
the ESPN
awesome.
2020 or 20 for 20 on that. 'cause
There are
it's
a lot
hilarious.
of good boxing movies.
I want to
But
watch Rocky 4 now.
my
So
question,
good.
which I think was
We need
answered
to watch
last episode, but what would you love or what would you do? Wow, I can't read. What would you love to have the chance to do? I think just like travel in general, like go visit all these like holy places would be really, really cool. But I specifically want to go to Greece.
Oh,
Greece?
nice.
I really want to go to Greece.
We need to be there together.
Greek
Together.
prince.
Is that the last time you were in Greece?
Mamma
That
Mia.
was the last time I was in Greece.
Me too.
Nice.
Mostly inspired by Mamma Mia, but also my Uncle Bob, shout out to you again, Uncle Bob,
Yep.
went to Greece and he said he got to visit like all the places that like St. Paul wrote to. And he was like, that was the coolest
We
thing.
went
That's
to
That's
Patmos,
awesome.
where St. John wrote Revelation, and
Yeah.
it was so cool.
That was amazing.
Yeah, we were
That's
like
really
in
cool.
the cave where St. John lived and wrote Revelation. It's
That's
That
so
was
cool.
amazing.
That's amazing.
And we went to the house where they alleged, where they believe Mary and St. John lived.
Yeah, it's
That was,
so cool. It
that
really
was so cool.
incredible.
That was in Ephesus.
All right, what you got, Thomas?
All right. So I've got a good one too. What gets you excited?
Oh.
And I mean, besides being here with all of you, from whom I've learned so many good lessons, honestly, and this is gonna sound cheesy, and so my apologies, but I love praying for people. I love like, especially like a random person like out in public who like they might feel like no one notices, and so I'll ask like, hey, can I pray for you for something? And like you see like a switch go on, and it's like, wow, this person like notices me and wants to like give me this attention and this love, and it just makes me happy, and I like to pray, and I like to pray for people.
It's beautiful. That's a good one to end on.
Nice.
Way better than Rocky IV.
Come on.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are well over time. A lot of this is probably only going to be on YouTube, but if you are watching us on YouTube right now, or somehow this makes it on the radio, so glad that you guys are here with us today. Thank you to all of our guests, guys. Thanks for being here. Ladies and gentlemen at home, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This is Honest to God on AM 1160 The Quest, Atlanta's Catholic radio. Producer Ben,
Signing off.
over and out.